All right, so this is Matt Richards with Hanging Mobile Gallery, and Matt makes big, huge mobiles, and there's not any in here, so I don't get to see any.
This one will be up in 20 minutes.
In 20 minutes, you're going to finish all those, all 13 of those things.
I wish.
Yeah. So Matt, talk a little bit about what you do. What kind of art do you make?
I make kinetic sculptures. So actually really just anything, any sort of hanging piece for the most part. Usually kinetic, so something that moves. So mobile or any other kind of hanging structure that has some sort of movement to it. Both big and small.
So how did you get started making mobiles?
Kind of a long story. I got a degree in mechanical engineering and was working as a corporate design engineer for a natural gas pipeline. Had some friends from school that I had kind of tinkered around with mobiles while in college, and we just kind of decided to start a little business based on that, because we wanted to basically kind of have the experience of starting a business, and the only thing we could think of doing at the time was mobiles, because that was something we had a little bit of experience with, had very little startup costs, was something we could just do from our homes, while still working our corporate jobs.
What is a design engineer?
Well, in the case of me, it was we basically just would. A design engineer is basically an engineer that, well, basically any engineer is for the most part is a design engineer, but somebody who designs, a product from an engineering standpoint. So not from an aesthetic or not from a kind of a final product type thing, but more as what is actually physically going to work. So we design parts of the pipeline. So it just started out with small things on eBay, and then we worked up a small, we had another friend who knew a little bit about HTML and built a real basic little website for us, and as he learned more, it would get progressively better. But we'd reference that on eBay even though you weren't supposed to, so we'd get posts taken down all the time because you're not allowed to reference things like that, at least back then. But then it just went from that to soon we had, we'd get people every now and then that would then contact us and say, I really like this little mobile. Can you do something bigger? Or I have this space in my house. I want something like this. And so it went from that to actually getting to make more customized pieces directly for people's homes, and that all came at the time just from having things up on eBay.
So just by having your work online, you started getting commission pieces.
One thing that's really changed, the ability to sell artwork has been just having the internet. It's not so much even having to really market it, but just having it someplace where anybody can access, instead of having it in a gallery where somebody on vacation or a local person can find it. Now, anybody across the world can come across it, and it just makes it a lot easier. I guess easier isn't the term, because it's still somebody buying something that they like.
So how did you make the transition from having a full-time day job as an engineer to making mobiles full-time? How long did that take?
It was a fairly slow process. Well, I guess to some people it might not seem slow, but it took from the time I started actually making them, putting them on eBay, and really started doing it, until the time that I actually quit my job was I think right around like 3.5 years or so. I think for me, some of the things that really indicate that, hey, this is working. It's funny because I have all my family still thinks I'm a little bit crazy and a little bit weird for doing what I do. I don't have to get up and go to work every day in a sense. But some of the things that really show me that, hey, this is working. That I don't know what everybody thinks this is so strange, and that people can do this. Is I've got a family. I'm married. I have a daughter, a 3.5-year-old daughter. My wife's pregnant. I have 2 kids. We own a condo in I don't have to work from my small space at home. I started out, building mobiles, and sometimes big mobiles, 15-foot long mobiles in a little 1-bedroom loft apartment in Houston. Spray painting out the window, dangling over the second floor. And so, I don't have to do that anymore. Now I have a, big 1,200 square foot space with 20-foot ceilings, so I can build big things. I've got welding equipment. I've got, basically all the different things that I need to be able to continue in my growth as an artist or as a builder, and my ability to take on other projects. And I think to me that's kind of, that's one form of showing that, hey, I've kind of made it. And another one is starting to be, recognized as basically having people come to you. When you start having certain clients, in my case, architecture firms, interior design firms, art directors, things like that for corporations, for healthcare facilities, for schools, and things in education. When you start having contacts and they continually come back to you and give you more and more work, I think to me I think more than anything else, that's kind of showed that, hey, I'm succeeding in some way, obviously, because people are continuing to come back and continuing.
Last question. If you were going to give advice to a young artist who was just getting started in their career and they wanted to know how to get themselves to a similar situation where they're financially independent, what advice would you give?
Take it slow for one thing, be smart about the way you're doing things. I think a lot of people, not just artists, but a lot of people, when they have something that they're really excited about, they'll drop everything and jump into it. And that doesn't always make the most sense financially. And it can, in a lot of ways, really stunt your opportunities. So one is, take it slow. If you're just starting to if you're an emerging artist, somebody who's just starting to really do something, you're trying to make it as a professional artist, take your time and build up a portfolio. If that means continuing to work your job or having a part-time job or doing whatever, keep that going. I mean, it's the more of a portfolio you have, the more opportunities you're going to have. For me, that's how it's led from little tiny 8-inch tall mobiles to 30-foot long, huge structures, is that, I was willing to take on projects because I knew that they would help my portfolio. In a lot of ways, that's one way to do it. So build up a portfolio, make sure that you understand the different online avenues there are for artists. It's really changed the art world from what it was over the past 1,000+ years of trying to get projects, trying to get commissions, trying to get people to actually purchase your work. You can, like I said before, anybody in the world can see it, so make sure you take advantage of that. Whether that's having your own website, which anybody can do really inexpensively, really easily. There's templates you can purchase, or you can build your own. There's services, that help you build them. Make sure that you have some sort of a presence online, whether it's your own website, whether it's links to other people's things, whether it's having a blog, whatever it is. Just have ways that people can actually see it, and learn as much as you can about how you can get your website or whatever your online presence is, however you can get that best seen, how you can get somewhat high in search engine rankings, how you can get people to it. And there's, again, a lot of resources for that. My wife does almost of that, and she learned how to do it all from reading a book. She read a Google AdWords book, and since then she's run her campaigns, and it's gotten better and better because as she learns more and more about it. So you have to be willing, just like in any other, I don't want to really say that art is, compared too much to business, but that's really what you're in. You're in business. You're in business to sell your work, to sell you. And to do that, you've got to, just like you would in any other job, you've got to really make sure that you're doing all you can to be the best, to excel. And that means actually taking some time outside of just doing your work, your artwork, and learning how to make yourself better at, selling your work, because that's a big part of it.